In the early 1930s, the United States was paralyzed by the Great Depression. Almost 1 in 4 workers were unemployed, and local charities and state governments were completely overwhelmed. Hunger, poverty, and despair spread across the country. This crisis forced Americans to ask a difficult question. Should the federal government take responsibility for the welfare of its people? Chapter 6 of the Reluctant Welfare State answers this question by looking at the New Deal and the Social Security Act of 1935. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal was more than just an economic recovery plan. It was a turning point in social welfare history. Programs like the Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, gave young men jobs building parks, roads, and bridges. The Work Progress Administration, the WPA, employed millions in construction, arts, and education projects. These programs didn't just provide paychecks, they gave people dignity and purpose during desperate times. But the boldest reform came in 1935 with the Social Security Act, which laid the foundation of the American welfare state. The Social Security Act created 3 major programs. The first, old age insurance, or Social Security retirement benefits, guaranteed workers a basic income when they were too old to work. 2, unemployment insurance, which provided financial help to workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. And 3, aid to dependent children, which supported poor single mothers raising children. For the first time in U.S. history, the federal government promised to protect ordinary people from some of life's biggest regrets: aging, job loss, and poverty. But these reforms were not perfect. Millions of workers were excluded. Agricultural and domestic workers, who were largely African American, Latino, and women, were left out of Social Security and unemployment insurance. This reinforced patterns of racial and gender inequality that lasted for decades. And even the programs that did exist carried stigma. Welfare recipients were often treated with suspicion and judged as undeserving, creating a culture of shame around assistance. So while the Social Security Act was a giant step forward, it also revealed the deep divides in American society. Chapter 6 reminds us that decisions made in the 1930s will still shape our lives today. Every Social Security check, every unemployment benefit, and every debate about welfare comes from the legacy of the New Deal. The big question remains, what role should government play in protecting its people? Is welfare a right or just a temporary safety net? By exploring the New Deal and the Social Security Act, we see how social policy is always a balance between support and exclusion, justice and inequality, themes that remain central to the study of social science.